Welcome to the Chamber Spotlight, a local talk show podcast brought to you by the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce in association with the local scene. We'll be recording on a regular basis, and we'll cover many topics that span local businesses, local elections, local town governance, and a citizens' academy. I'm your host, Fraser Townley, and today is August the 10th. Ladies. Oh, and I'm sat with our guest today, Jude George, I got that right, haven't I? And Nicole Pelletier? No.
Pelletier.
Pelletier. Okay, and my apologies for screwing that up. And we're going to be talking the Watershed Association, which I'm very excited about. And I have to thank, the listeners need to know. So I invited these two ladies on at the beginning of July when we started to hear rumors about what was going on with the water and Brockton and 12 million gallons. And they agreed. But then Nicole called me and she said, look, we need to get our facts and our ducks in a row before we come on your show, which I think is really smart. I know Jude was smart and Nicole impressed me with that. So I know we've got two very smart people. So before we get going, however, let's have some bios. Jude, let's start with you.
Oh,
you started to give me your bio, and I wanted to shut you off because I wanted to save this. What did you do before you? What do you do now?
Well, right now, I am retired in most senses of the word. Social Security, Medicare. I'm 65, but I am doing.
That's really old, isn't it?
It doesn't feel old. I
No,
feel
of course
absolutely
not.
as sprightly today as I did at 50.
Yeah.
And I hope that persists for a very long time. My health is excellent. My brain is excellent, and I'm very grateful.
Good.
For whatever genetic trail has given me these opportunities. But I am, I'm essentially retired, but I'm doing a lot of very part-time things with my time, make a little money, and also to feel like a contributor to the workforce. Mm-hmm. But I retired here from biotech. I was a 30-year veteran of biotech. I lived in Cambridge, Somerville, Medford for all of those years, worked for about 4 companies. And my last company laid me off and sent my job functionality and my team's functionality to Croatia. And I was laid off. My other team members were absorbed into the company. But it gave me the opportunity to be young, living on a pond, and with the capability of having the energy to serve the town. And that's been my main focus for the last 2 years that I've been retired, is find ways to serve Pembroke using what skill sets I've amassed in the workplace and all that time. Last year, I ran for Board of Health. It was the greatest bucket list decision I made in my life. I went to every neighborhood in Pembroke, talked to a lot of people, really started to understand the town from a grassroots perspective. And I plan to continue all of these volunteer efforts until either I'm laid off from that or something else happens.
You're a volunteer. You can't be laid off. So
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
You did a fantastic job as well at the forum.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I mean, you just rocked it. You just grabbed hold of the mic and off you went. It was terrific. It was great. It was great to witness it. It was great to watch.
When it's recounted to me, people use the word memorable, which can be two things at once.
Oh, yeah, because you could be a failure and be memorable, but you rocked it.
Oh,
you rocked it. You were fantastic.
Thank you for your kindness.
You did also mention that you do sound for bands or something.
Yes,
is that
yes.
right? Is that part-time or was that?
Well, as in my capacity as someone who just can't stop doing things, I was the director of a nonprofit, which was an all-woman swing band. I did that for 13 years. And in that capacity, you do everything. You do sound, you do music, you do the library, you do
roadie.
I was the artistic director, so I picked all the music, rehearsed the band, did all the gigs. We did all the gigs. And so for 13 years, I did that as a job, and also picked up skills doing that.
I think that's an amazing job.
For sound.
What a great resume, Nicole.
I love that I'm following Jude with all of her amazing stuff. So I have a bachelor's degree in architecture, and I have designed a couple of homes down on the South Shore, but also in addition to that, I am also a local steward to specific nonprofit, specifically the Pembroke Watershed Association. I am the new president for this organization, but I'm also a member of a local board that has vested interests in the environment. And I also am an on-call grant administrator for a town on the South Shore.
Can you name the town?
I don't know if I feel comfortable naming the town.
Okay.
I know it.
You do?
Jude knows it, but it's just
Hey,
it's
tell
a
me
local
offline.
town, and
Tell me
really,
offline.
I love it. I love what I do. I love bringing, conscientious changes to municipalities. It's really my passion to make sure that we all move forward in a really careful way for our children. So with the majority of my time, I am also a mother to 2 children. Tucker, happy birthday. He turned 13 yesterday. And then Charlotte is 9, almost 10. And we have a family farm that I also take care of.
Cool.
So
I know what a family farm is. It a functioning farm?
it's like a hobby farm. Lots of chickens.
Eggs.
And one very apathetic bunny.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a similar farm. We have lots of chickens, lots of eggs,
Yeah.
lots of bunnies.
Yeah.
We don't eat the bunnies.
We don't eat anybody. We're not doing that.
Lapin,
Not yet.
very tasty actually.
It's nice to have them.
So if you've got a young family, what did you think of we're not getting political, but what did you think of the VOTEC vote? What happened there?
Well, so my husband was actually a graduate of South Shore VOTEC. So
Okay.
his family has been in Pembroke he's the 4th generation. My children are the 5th. And he and many of my nephews and nieces have attended South Shore VOTEC. So we were hoping, obviously, it would still be an opportunity for our children, especially as my son is entering into his high school grade next year. It would have worked out perfectly if it had gone through. But unfortunately, it didn't. So now we have to navigate our options and find something for somebody who needs to keep his body moving.
And yet we signed off at that town hall meeting $42 million for the water infrastructure. People don't talk about that.
I think that infrastructure is really important. I mean, we can't speak on behalf of the town and their, agencies directly or anything like that. But I think that, our infrastructure is in dire need of upgrades, and that expense, it's for a great reason.
No, 100%. I don't have a problem with the expense.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed with the outcome of the VOTEC. And if you speak to anybody who voted no for VOTEC, I guarantee they wouldn't know that they did sign off $42 million for the water infrastructure. Anyhow, let's move on. We're talking about Watershed. So, Watershed, who wants to tell me what that's all about? Nicole.
So the Pembroke Watershed Association is it's a nonprofit grassroots organization that was started by a small group of neighbors that were they lived on the pond and they had vested interests in keeping it healthy and maintaining recreation and just being able to utilize their adjacencies to the best advantage possible.
Was this Bob Kenny?
Bob Kenny was one of them. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we have him and a couple of his neighbors. They started this organization just kind of as a local advocacy group to provide pond testing, just support on the environmental level in terms of providing pond treatment, coordination, and stuff like that. I'm still learning, though, just to be very clear.
It's all volunteer,
Right.
And so no one's paid, but we do it. We did secure a grant a couple of years ago that we're using to supplement our membership dues in order to promote some activities for the watershed on behalf of the town. And one of them is testing. So we pay for a bevy of testing for the watershed that in the water that's directly related to the critical health parameters of the water. And then we feed that information back to the town to guide the treatment that they decide to do with their treatment partner.
And that's your title, isn't it?
My title is the Water Quality Analyst of the Pembroke Watershed Association.
Okay.
Nicole is president.
No, I
don't know if we said that. But.
She did.
Okay.
So let me get this straight then. I didn't realize there was you pay to be a member of the association. Is that correct?
Yes, a very small amount, $10 or $20 a household to
right.
the watershed.
But those
yearly, it's yearly.
So how many members do you have?
About 180. We've been up
good.
to in the 300s in the past years, in recent years, but we're up to 180.
And the dues go toward the testing and the everything else.
And our public presence. So we try to be at Pembroke Celebrates. We try to sponsor a table. We try to give out information, and we try to make that fun for people. So this year we're going to have like a crayon and coloring, and we're going to do some maybe some raffling off of things. And so we put a little bit of money into our infrastructure to have a community presence.
So I'm going to stick my neck on the block here.
That's fine.
The chamber gets a table at that.
Sure.
And we donate it. So I think we should donate it to you guys.
Oh. Now your head is on the block.
There's a first.
About 100 community organizations in the town just went, what?
Yeah, we're going to cut that, Chris, right? No, we're not.
Seeking further approval.
We did actually pay for the table already. So.
Oh, you have? Okay,
Yeah,
well, you can't have ours then. But I can bring it up on the
Thank you.
board.
Your generosity will be rewarded with another request.
There you go.
But
So-
for the chamber.
So let's talk about the reason why you're here.
Okay.
12 million gallons.
Yes.
What's that all about?
I'm glad you started with just saying 12 million gallons.
Well, because that's what everybody else is saying. I know it's not 12 million, and I know there's circumstances,
Okay.
but let's lead with the big headline.
Well,
Talk us off the ledge.
I think this is my topic specifically, but let me say some of my talking points for this, and then I'll hand it to the press.
Nicole was the one that says, let's get our facts straight. So
Yes,
she gets
yes.
some credit.
No, we only deal in facts at the Pembroke
That's all we're
Watershed
interested
Association.
in.
So
Science
there's
and
always
facts.
been a lot of rumors ever since I moved to Pembroke, ever since I moved to Furnace Pond. I live on Furnace Pond. The rumors are just nonstop.
Yeah.
In terms of, and it's like the worst part of the telephone game is at the end of the telephone game. It's the most crazy thing you've ever heard. But let's talk about 12 million.
What are the rumors you're talking about?
Any rumors?
There's so many. Let's put a pin in that, and we'll go back to crazy things I've heard about water in Pembroke.
Let's just talk about it. So the rumor that we've done our very best to dispel.
Right.
The reason why we had Dan Sullivan on to talk about water, and the reason why when we had the town manager on, we touched on it, and when we had the chair of the select board on, we touched on it with them. Brockton aren't taking our water. They do take our water. Let's start again. Brockton are taking our surface water from our ponds, which they then have to treat because they have to get all the nitrates out from all the runoff from all the houses that live around the pond. We get our water from the aquifer.
Right.
Yeah, the groundwater.
The groundwater.
Yeah.
Which is, I've been told it's not sat there for thousands of years and it's filtered through the sand, but it's still filtered. Mm-hmm. I would rather drink the aquifer water than the pond water, whether it's been treated or not.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very wise.
And so to be told, and you see all these signs around town saying that we're in a water ban, but that's a statewide water ban that's from May until September.
Right.
End of story.
Right.
We just happen to be, I don't know if we're smart or lazy, but we keep our signs up all year round. So everybody sees that we're in a water ban. But every town is subject to it.
Well, and that's a separate subject
I understand.
from the 12 million. But I can say when relative to water bans and relative to drought,
Yeah.
a drought is a geologic phenomenon of not enough rain
Science, I love
in
it.
this period of
I
time.
knew we'd get this.
So I just want to make sure people listening to this podcast and anyone who's in earshot of its credentials knows that we're never going to be in a drought in Pembroke or hopefully anywhere else where you turn on the tap in your house and no water comes out. That's not the level of drought and has nothing to do with drought. Pembroke is, as you showed us with the wonderful presentation by Dan Sullivan, which I listened to and just absolutely had to listen to twice because of how wonderful it was. We have enough water in Pembroke to meet our household needs.
And expansion.
And expansion. I was going to say, we're 2 million gallons short of what we can draw from the ground to service the household needs of Pembroke.
Now, is that a day or for the year?
No, it's a day.
Exactly.
That's per day. So we have sufficient water. So when people say we're in a drought, it's a geologic phenomenon that's imbued from just not having enough rain and not having a certain amount of rain in a certain amount of time. That's what a drought is.
So
it's a geologic phenomenon.
I know you're a big science numbers person.
Right.
I'm a big fan of numbers myself. So what we have as excess is 2 million per day.
Yes.
Not excess.
For our household needs.
Right. And so the 12 million, whether it was 12 million or not,
Right.
is 6 days supply. 6 days excess supply.
But so that's a little misleading because it doesn't come from the same
I'm
place.
good at that.
It doesn't come from the same place, right?
Right.
Our,
No, of course
our
not.
wells feed our.
Of course.
So when I'm triggered, my brain was triggered by what you said about a water ban. Now we have a water ban because we don't want our water supply to ever become stressed, and so if we have these if we have these watershed difficulties for drought, and we have these watershed difficulties for low water table because of evaporation and lack of rain, we don't want those to redound to our aquifer.
Sure.
So we put a ban, towns put bans relative to the amount of water that they think they can handle, given this entire watershed picture.
Right.
For instance, I go through Kingston to go to work, and I see that they have a water your lawn if you're odd numbered house on odd days and even numbered house on even days. So that's how they're handling their water drought, aquifer distribution of their water. So towns have different ways of handling these water. We keep water ban signs up because we are in an age in the year of our Lord 2026 where every town has a drought. Yep. We are in perpetual drought, so this doesn't make any sense to take down water ban signs. You can only be putting them up again, in a couple of months. So we're always in a drought. We are always in a state where we have to be thinking about water supply and what. But we're not going to run out of water in our households in Pembroke. I just want to make that clear. You want to add something?
There's one thing I want to add to that. I mean, obviously, there are modern day challenges associated with water that are splashed all over the news, and it is most certainly a legitimate concern that there are other entities that could deplete our water source even further that we simply have not acknowledged on the legislative level yet. So I think, to Jude's point, we are in a really lucky situation where we do have enough capacity or enough resource to just operate as residents. But there are other communities that are really nearby that are struggling. I mean, the Abington-Rockland Waterworks system is at a level 4 right now, and they are hurting.
What's the highest level?
So I think, is it level 5 or level 6, Jude? I don't know.
Oh, so it's close.
Yeah, so it's up there. And they have signs everywhere telling people that they are in a water ban, a legitimate, do not use extra water for anything water ban. So we do have to be really mindful of the fact that, yes, we have a perceivable abundance, I guess you could say. But in the same token, we have to be very careful with what we've got. Sure.
And I like what you did there, talking about water splashed on the headlines.
I didn't even mean to do that.
So do you want to go back to 12 million, the magic number?
Yeah, that's yes. Why don't we?
That's where we started, right? So we became aware of one of the rumors that we became aware of as a Watershed Association, and for myself, living on Furnace Pond, is that Brockton diverted 12 million gallons of water from Furnace Pond in the beginning of May. What I was told at the beginning of this rumor was they took 1 million gallons of water a day for 12 days. And so I started going around saying, hey, Brockton took 12 million, because that's what I was told. And then facts belied that calculation and that rumor. The rumor was put to bed. Now, I will say this.
What are the facts?
I will tell you the facts. But, but first, I want to point your audience towards some information we have posted on Facebook. So we have Pembroke Watershed Association on Facebook is an open and free Facebook page. You don't have to be a member to get on it to read it. Yep. We have posted, as this was happening from the beginning of May to now,
5 updates
yep. in live time, giving the absolute facts as we have learned them.
Right.
And all of this is written down on Facebook in 5 posts.
I think it's terrific. And I suspect you wrote it, didn't you?
It was a team effort. I mean, we all did. We all did this. Because we all had different subjects that we were running to ground in order to find real facts. So it was so big, we had to divide and conquer it.
Yeah.
So I do want to point the audience to that. If anything we say, I'm going to probably say something stupid because I'm just on the spot, and I've got
the words right in front of me, and I've highlighted.
So go read those.
My questions.
I want to point the audience to read those, because everything that's true up to last week is on the website, and you can read them. Get a coffee, sit down and read
so that's
4,000 words about
that was number 4.
Yeah, it was number 4.
It was get a coffee.
Get a coffee.
This is a long one.
It's going to take a while.
It was 3 pages of edited.
In the end of the day, we filed a Freedom of Information Act to the Department of Environmental Protection, which may have been a little over the top, because really all we had to do was ask. But I'm one of those people that does a FOIA for everything. And so we did get back the actual data that they took from the pond, and it ended up being just a little bit under 6 million gallons.
So you haven't published this data, have you?
That should be in there. That should be in there somewhere.
Hold on a second.
But I'll say it here so everyone knows.
Well, good, yeah. The number is 6 million.
It added up to they had to stop the diversion on day 8 because they were having trouble pulling water to their system because the pond is chronically low in volume. So they got 1 million the first day, 1 million the second day, and it went sequentially down. I'm laughing because there's emails in our FOIA requests that say, hey, I don't know what you're doing at Furnace, but I need to get up to speed because I'm getting a lot of calls. Because by the time mid-May came around, my greatest scientific instruments are my eyes. And I live on Furnace, and I was looking at the pond, and I'm saying, wow, where's the water going? It's only May. And my neighbors were also asking the same question.
So are you, okay, so you live on Furnace Pond.
Yeah.
You're used to seeing the levels going up and down.
I feel like I have a bird's eye view of sort of the organism itself and its ebbs and flows. Yeah. And this is my 4th summer on the pond. And people have been there a lot longer than me, so I rely on them for a lot of the legacy information. But I could see from this year to last year. Last year, the pond started the summer season, very, very high.
Yeah.
And this year, we started the summer season, recreational season, where we would normally be in August.
With a lot of evaporation and stuff like that.
It was like crazy. And I remember going to the annual meeting on the 18th, 2 days after the election, knowing that the pond was low, seeing that the pond was low, being told by my neighbors the pond was low, but it hadn't gotten around to the rest of the town that the pond was that low. And I remember going into the annual meeting saying, I don't know why this is happening. I hope nobody asks. I don't have an answer. We come to understand later what was going on.
Nicole, what was your memory of all of this? I mean, when did you first hear about it?
So I was first brought on to the Pembroke Watershed Association in May.
Perfect timing.
The annual meeting, of course.
And you made it to president.
Well, this was a long time of kind of coordinating back and forth and digesting all of the primordial soup information with one of the previous members who started this whole thing. So started the whole Pembroke Watershed Association. So he was a very valuable asset to the organization and wanted to entrust it with somebody who had a little bit of wherewithal in terms of the environment and what it needs. So I guess in terms of the diversions, it was really, hard and fast in terms of like digesting information and figuring out, okay, well, hold on, right? Again, the facts, like let's figure out what's going on, what's happening on the local level, what's happening on the state level, what's happening on the regional level and the district level.
Yeah.
They're separate.
Yeah.
And we've learned so much about this situation and just how so many of our government bodies and even just residents are operating in parallel and then sometimes even perpendicular to each other and blaming each other for problems that are happening in real time. So,
but can I say something very, very important?
You go ahead.
At this juncture.
Yes.
There are no villains in this story.
No, I know that.
But I think it's important to say a couple of very important things. Like the Watershed Association, Pembroke, and everybody that we've talked to, nobody wants to deprive a municipality of water during a drought.
And you say that very clearly in one of your, it was either 5 or 4.
Everyone that we've talked to who we've gotten information from, and I want to mention on the positive side of our efforts has been talking to our local representatives at the state level, like Kathy Lenatra, Ken Sweezy, and Dylan Fernandez. We've got nothing but positive feedback from them and positive reception from them. They've come to our meetings. They've entertained our questions. They've brought us into the process of trying to figure out the management of water but again, no one has slammed the door and said, go pound sand because it's a drought issue.
But at the same time, Jude, if I've understood your updates, no one's actually provided a solution.
Right, because
they're all telling you, "Oh, wouldn't that be a good idea?"
Well, I'm a sort of a political animal, and I believe in the power of government, and I believe in the power of the people powering that government.
Yeah,
and so just being asked to work on a bill by Dylan Fernandez people,
I agree.
Being asked to feed back to our representatives, and that's the beginning steps of all change. All change has begun this way.
I agree.
And today we met with people from Brockton, and we had a very positive, very powerful meeting with them, and we were very happy with the outcome on that meeting. And so, you got. Oh,
you had a meeting today?
Yes, it's a big system.
Okay.
These are big systems with a lot of people. But two things: no villains,
Yep.
and everybody has been nothing but kind and helpful to the level that they can be.
Sure.
And this is not a Pembroke problem. Like this, the state is in charge of these water bodies. Like as much as we love the ponds, we don't own the ponds. The state owns the ponds, and we have to work with the state
Yeah.
to manage the watershed and manage the watershed at a very high level. The watershed north of us, the watershed south of us, it all has to be thought of as one continuous organ, like the organ of an animal. And it all has to be measured, and everybody has to come together and be able to make these changes together, and so that no one's left out of the process and everyone's listened to. And we feel like, you can say how you feel about it. I don't want to talk for you, but Nicole, but I feel like everybody has been in that headspace when we've talked to them. Like, let's all get together. Let's figure out how to manage these resources so they don't go away in the next generation.
So the three people you just talked about, Kathleen Archer, Ken Sweezy,
Dylan Fernandez,
all three have been on the podcast. They all talk a great, they're good public servants, but they all reiterate the problem that they have, or one of the problems that they have is they have too short a term. So, for instance, Dylan has 2 years. There are 7,000 bills per year. More than half of those bills are the bills that had to be refiled because they didn't get through the bill because they only had 2 years.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of repetitive, there's a lot of slow work. There is a joke, moving at the speed of government, but I mean, it's truly sluggish.
But that's not the only. That's only one.
That's one of the villains.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me saying.
They one of the.
You said there are no villains.
No villain. Okay.
That's one of the villains.
Time is a villain.
Time is the biggest villain.
Yeah. But it's only one way to do this work. So, for instance, I also was elected to be a commissioner on the Central Plymouth County Watershed.
I saw that. Congratulations.
And that's an organization that needs to communicate with our organization and the other watershed organizations, and has to communicate with Brockton. So just by having people with these functionalities in common, bringing them all together, and talking about the watershed as one big thing that we have to manage, that helps.
And I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Because what we shouldn't be doing as residents or public leaders is saying, Brockton are taking our water.
Right.
It's not their, it's not our water. It's collectively, it's
our
and
water.
Also, another fact.
I don't know how to say that differently. It's not our water, it's our water.
It's our water.
Another fact
it's a human
is
right.
that Brockton diverted the 6 million gallons this year, but they had not diverted water from Furnace Pond since 2018. We saw documented evidence of that today.
So why is that?
Because it's a pain in the neck for them.
Well, where have they been taking the water from?
From Silver Lake and from Montponset.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still a Pembroke Lake, though.
Still a Pembroke Lake, but much bigger, like 10 times bigger.
Yeah.
Silver Lake has a spot in it, I guess, is 85 feet deep. That was news to me. So these are much bigger water bodies and can stand those percentage number of get millions of gallons of draw.
So how many? Okay.
Pembroke's difficult to draw from, and they've only reiterated that this year.
Why? So it's difficult geographically? It's difficult?
It's low. It's a gravity-fed diversion, and you can only get so much gravity going on a very, very shallow pond.
So it's interesting because I did see, I'm going to come up with some facts now.
Okay.
So the pond must be at an elevation of 56 feet.
Right.
That's above sea level.
Correct.
Right, 56. And right now it's at 54.8.
Yes. And that was about a month after the diversion. We had our own paid surveyor go in.
So do we know how many gallons per foot?
It's 3 million gallons per inch.
Per inch?
Yeah, I don't want to do that math.
Well, it's 12.3.
Somebody
it's 36.
out there is doing that
36 million gallons.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's been a long day.
It's about, and that was about, it was about 2% of the total volume of Furnace. Except,
so that's huge, but it's not so.
It doesn't sound like much, but if you look at it from the shore, because Furnace is a bit of a basin, like think of it as a teacup in the sun.
Right.
With very, very shallow edges.
So there's this idea that we might be, Nicole, let's hear from you. So in the water diversion update number 5, some of the key ideas being discussed include exploring dredging to restore the pond's depth.
Yes.
So what's happened to the pond's depth?
So the pond's depth, so effectively what has been happening just over the course of many, many years is there's a bit of a process where there's biological material. Maybe Jude would be better at explaining this more eloquently.
I've heard you explain it. You do it.
So basically what happens is there are a couple of different factors. So there's plant matter that naturally grows in the pond, and it, obviously it dies down and biodegrades into the water, and some of the actual plant life lives on the surface of the water, so that also contributes to coverage instead of sunlight. So those two factors happen naturally. And then the other thing that happens is just for the purposes of balancing the actual chemistry of the water, we treat the water with alum in order to maintain the bacterial balance.
The algae.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
Excuse me, algae, yeah.
So dredging, how would you dredge the pond? I mean, how would you get a dredger in the pond?
It is a tremendous undertaking.
But we can get a free dredger.
It's just in Seattle right now.
It's in my backyard. No. The Plymouth County has access to a free dredger. I think it's free, or it's not very much money. And we can get, it's a low cost effort to get the dredger. What we have to do is find a place to put the dredge to dry it out in order to make it a profitable endeavor for someone who wants to take it away. That's the problem. And that, when I said put a pin in all the rumors,
yes,
like the crazy rumors of Furnace Pond.
What's that rumor?
That was one of them, which was I first moved there. I noticed the pond was very shallow using my scientific eyeballs.
Yeah.
And I was asking, why is this pond so shallow? Because I'd been over to Oldham, and Oldham is got 25 feet sometimes. There's some 25 feet holes over there. And I was like, why is this pond so shallow? Well, what happened was 10 years ago, we had $1 million to dredge the pond, and we had bought the bogs in order to dry it out. And then when somebody did a core sample, we found mercury. And then the EPA shut it down. Now, this is the rumor. Okay.
You're going to tell us the truth as well, I hope.
From what I know.
Yeah.
So they shut it down because of the mercury, because they didn't want the mercury from the muck leaking into the water table and into people's wells. So that was a mercury shutdown. Now, this mercury thing in my head, I thought,
where's it coming from?
Come on. And then I asked, where's the mercury come from? And then they said, well, we used to make cannonballs for George Washington's army. Now that I believe. And I thought, okay, is there a mercury byproduct from making cannonballs? I don't know. I was deep in the rabbit hole of how this could have been true. So
you were following up.
I threw it all out.
Yeah.
What I did was, as a member of the Watershed water quality analyst and with a budget, I measured the muck for mercury. I asked them to do a core sample for mercury. I asked them to look for it in the water.
And what did you find?
It's not there. There's nothing there. There's
what a
no
surprise.
mercury. There's no mercury there. And mercury is completely persistent as an element on Earth. Like if it was there, it should still be there. And now, did we?
It doesn't decay.
Scientifically speaking, did I happen to miss the place? Because it was only 2 core samples. Did I happen to miss the only place that they had mercury? Or is there mercury in every other place except where we core sampled? I don't know. But I found no mercury. And so I felt like that ended up being either a misrepresentation of what was concerning the EPA or just a downright story that it morphed into using the telephone game.
It's a good story.
I'm not sure, but it's a good story, right?
Yeah, it's terrific.
Right.
Just not true.
Just most likely, and a responsible scientist never has anything for 100%. And I'm a responsible scientist, so I'll say 1% chance there's mercury in Furnace Pond. That's what I'll say, because 100% is the statistic for the uninformed scientist. So that's what I say. 1%.
I don't let facts stand in the way of a good story. I really don't. So, okay. So dredging could still happen.
It could happen. I mean, it's on the list of things that I feel we are pursuing in order to restore the health of the pond to its 1964 or previous standards. Because in 1964, when the act, the famous 1964 act that allowed diversions from Furnace into other cities, there was standards in that act. One of them was that 56-foot elevation, versus sea level, and another one was review by our select board for how well this the diversions are working for us as a town.
You can only review what you're told is going to happen.
Never been done.
Yeah, but they didn't tell us.
Well, I think it just went by the wayside. It was in there, but nobody followed up on it, and nobody
So is that a fault?
it. So we want to review this. We want our select board to review this, and we're preparing a report for our select board, and we're going to give them a report on this. So, and they have every right as the stewards of our town to review any acts that affect our town. So we want that. We do want to get money for dredging Furnace Pond to return it to health, because the other thing that we've done as a watershed association is we've dropped indwelling sensors into the pond, and for an entire recreational season, we recorded and verified and validated using real instruments, which has never been done before in Pembroke, versus a control, the critical parameters for health in a water body. pH, the power of hydrogen, which is the amount of acid and amount of base. The dissolved oxygen level, which is critical to fish maintenance and critical to the health of the pond. And temperature. So we validated last year, and we're doing it again this year, versus a control, responsible data with p-values and error bars that show Furnace Pond is a stressed pond.
Right.
And should not be diverted from going forward until we find a way to restore the health of the pond.
Sure. I did, and again, it was the rumor mill. One of the observations was there was a lot of dead wildlife around the pond. Is that true? Or is that a rumor?
No, I don't see. No, well, there was the turtle. No,
Oh,
no. We're not going.
A turtle.
We had a
Talk
dead
about
turtle this summer, but I don't think it's related to what
Hang
you're
on,
saying.
Nicole. What's your involvement in this one?
I cannot discuss the turtle. It's too
Okay.
upsetting.
I'm sorry.
He's
No dead fish?
But we've never had a fish kill in Furnace Pond, which I think is very notable for environmentalists out there who are listening. People usually want to know, has there been a fish kill? And there's never been a fish kill to my knowledge.
Interesting. So those rumors are false?
No, those are somewhere in the telephone game.
Okay.
But if the pond was continued to be subject to eutrophication, which is just basically the depletion of dissolved oxygen and all of this stuff due to plant matter and everything like that, then we would run the risk of losing more wildlife that dwells in the water.
Sure.
Also,
it just hasn't happened yet, but there is a risk that it would happen.
Right. Also,
if we
Fraser,
went.
I just one other point, because I did have a bunch of talking points when I came in here.
Oh, you did you?
One other point I want to make about Furnace Pond. Now, Furnace Pond, I happened to move to, it was kind of random. I was looking for a pond house, but I moved to Furnace. Now, all this attention on Furnace Pond is not happening because I moved there. I just want to make that clear to you and your audience. My eyeballs saw from the first day I moved there that something was wrong with the pond, which I didn't really have a motivation to pursue because I was still working. But I want people to know and understand that all of our ponds could go the same way health-wise as Furnace if we don't use Furnace as a model for diagnosing the problem at Furnace and then treating the problem at Furnace, because Furnace is the quintessential proverbial canary in the coal mine. The watershed is out to preserve all the ponds and make them there and intact and healthy for all of our children and all the future generations. Furnace is just the model that we're working on to make sure that we do the right things in the right order to maintain all the ponds in Pembroke.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Let me ask you a question. How many ponds, actually? This wasn't the official question. How many ponds in Pembroke?
7 ponds.
7.
Yeah.
And
Can I just add something to that?
yeah.
But of them, one of them is considered a reservoir.
Oh,
that's
Big Sandy is a...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
For our water or for anybody's water?
For Abington, Lowell.
Abington, Rockland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lowell.
And when you say everyone has access to the water, how do they access it? Have they all got pipes that lead somewhere?
Are you... Sorry.
Oh, well...
Each of the ponds?
Abington Rockland has direct access to Big Sandy.
Right. But okay. Let me ask you a different
Rockland
question.
has access to Furnace through a diversion system that's right off Center Street.
Right.
And connects to Silver Lake and then diverts back up to the
Treatment plant.
Yeah, treatment plant, which
So
distributes.
Oldham Pond.
Oldham is connected to Furnace by a culvert. So when you draw from Furnace, you pull water from Oldham. The nice thing about Oldham is it's so deep, when you take 2% out of there, you can't even see it. Hello, Oldham fans.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone on Oldham Pond.
So they have, let me ask you, there was one statement that the pair of you made that you are, so again, this is some of the ideas, requiring Brockton to fully utilize its desalination plant.
Yeah.
I think that's a great statement, but
Hell
where
to
do
the,
they get the seawater from?
The sea.
Obviously.
Taunton River. Taunton River. It's brackish. It's not seawater. It's brackish water from Taunton River.
Right, because it's not on the coast.
No, it's inland and Taunton. It's Taunton. So and this was a great point. It wasn't on my list of points. But Aquaria is the name of this facility.
You're right.
And right now, almost no water goes from the sea to Aquaria to Brockton. Almost no water. Sometimes they.
So what's it there for? Emergencies?
Oh, it was there for it to provide the water and stop diversions from the surface water.
So Mass DEP had required it as a secondary water source to the city of Brockton because they were exclusively relying on our surface water prior to.
And how much, what's the output? What's the potential output?
I believe, what is it, 5 million?
As big as the ocean.
500, I mean.
500,000 a day?
No, it's significant. I mean, it's in the millions. I just can't recall off the top of my head.
But the energy required to desalinate?
No, it's not that. It's money. It's the money. To desal and deliver water through that plant cost Brockton much, much more money than...
Because of the energy. It's the energy costs, right?
I'm not sure. I think it's I don't know, is it the removal of the salt? Or maybe it's the same thing. Maybe
because you boil the water to remove the salt.
I do just want to acknowledge that we haven't spoken to Aquaria directly.
We don't know
either.
Aquaria.
So we're not familiar with the inner workings of their contract agreement or anything like that.
We're only familiar with the efforts of our state reps to
encourage this
Aquaria.
Right, okay.
To be diverted from Aquaria. Now, if we divert from Aquaria, if the water is provided by Aquaria by some method, the diversions will stop in all of the surface ponds, and that's going to be one of our goals, is to help with that.
What happens if you succeed?
What
happens to the excess water they've been taking? What happens?
It stays in the pond. I imagine Furnace will get deeper. It's 5 feet deep now. I wouldn't mind a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-foot pond. Out there, it'd be great. Wait! It
doesn't go down. The water goes up.
It'll go up. Yeah,
right.
It'll go up. It'll fill from the bottom.
Will it affect anyone's homes?
It should not affect flooding because actually Brockton has a way to manage water to divert in times of, like, say, a hurricane. Like a big hurricane's coming, we're going to get 4 inches of rain. They can help with the diversion of water under the cases where...
So they're not the bogeyman?
No, like I said.
Right. I said. Not at all.
They're actually, the man we talked to who runs the Brockton water plant is very knowledgeable, very experienced. Mm-hmm. He's a kind person who understands all of the different ecological issues, economic issues, and the political issues that he has to deal with every day. And I was very impressed with his reception to us, because he probably thought we were going in there to scream at him, and it was not the case. And
which is probably what he's used to.
He's always used to that. So you see on his face when he realized that we were nice and we were just inquisitive and we just wanted to understand, and we had no malice, and we believed from the beginning there were no enemies. You could see his face kind of relax. Oh, yeah, I'll give you these papers. It was very...
And that's the way. You get a lot more... What did they say about honey
Flies
and bees?
And honey, yeah.
Flies and honey, exactly.
So I guess, like, back to the point of, in terms of flood management and the city of Brockton's infrastructure being mutually beneficial for all of the participating communities. Mm-hmm. They do have to receive approval from Mass DEP to divert in moments of extreme flood. Because sometimes that flooding takes place outside of the time frame that the legislation allows for. So there is a little bit of a process there, but you have an emergency response that if you have enough foresight, you can go through the specific avenues to receive approval from the state to do so.
Isn't it great? We need approval for disaster recovery. Yeah. What is that all about?
Happens all the time.
That can be the thing I work on next year, Fraser.
Okay. Let me know if I can help. Let me just go through your list then. So some of the ideas include pausing water diversion. We've already talked about that. Updating legislation requiring local input. That's the select board you were talking about. So we talked about that. Requiring Brockton to fully desalination. We talked about that. Conducting a new state-funded watershed study. Did we talk about that?
No, but it's on our list because we believe, fully with all of our hearts that all the watersheds are connected. Like the water doesn't know where the state's one town ends and one
Same begins. With the air.
So we would like a really, really broad, high level, if it hasn't already been done, study of how all the watersheds connect and how they're all managed, mm-hmm. so that we don't suck water out of furnace, and then this watershed goes down, and this watershed is maybe adequate for supply. And so we can move the water around in a way that befits the needs of our 21st century.
Yeah.
And not with respondent to an act that was signed in 1964. We need a review. We need a study.
Or earlier, wasn't it? The
one,
originally?
the one,
I know the
original.
One.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Oh, the one goes back like to the
Victorian.
Pilgrims. It goes back to the Pilgrims. So we want a modern. We are going to be advocating for a modern study that takes into account all of the different inputs and outputs and connecting all of the management services, so that we don't have to worry about going out. You take your son fishing, and all of a sudden you can't get to the middle of the pond because it's just like a little puddle, and we've killed all the fish. We don't want that for our next future generation.
Absolutely not.
And so that is what's responding to that question on to that suggestion on the Facebook.
And just to expand upon that too, so there have been water management plans put together, and there have been water studies in the past, but more often than not, Pembroke has been a footnote in that, just maybe due to advocacy and participation being a little lower than we would hope.
Mm-hmm.
So there are systems and framework in place for us to kind of take a look at things really closely and dive in and make sure that we're being advocated for appropriately. So a study would be great.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing, I don't know if it's actually even on our list, is I think it's really important for our ponds to have essentially wetland restoration done on the bordering areas of the ponds, because a lot of the disturbances that took place around the border of the ponds was done before the Wetlands Protection Act. So a lot of performance standards don't apply to some of the houses that sit on that pond, if not most. And vegetation is a buffer. It is a filter for contaminants, and we have stormwater and waste systems along the ponds that really need to be reckoned with on a larger scale.
I have heard a recommendation that we have water treatment plants rather than having septic tanks and leaching fields, because the leaching fields just end up in the ponds,
right?
Yeah.
Which is where the nitrates come from, which is why I don't want to drink somebody else's drunk water.
Right.
And Pembroke stands to benefit from having either alternative septic systems. I can't remember the acronym for it right now, so many acronyms, but alternative septic systems, right? And also possibly even someday, pipe dream sewer around, pipe dream, I'm being silly again, but
there we go. Yeah, no, you're
sewer
right.
around the ponds would be the best thing, because then we just take all of that waste away from the water source, away from these natural resources that we need to protect.
Sure, absolutely. There was one other thing that we hadn't talked about, and that's establishing clear notification requirements to Pembroke authorities. That's the one thing that blew me away. We didn't know.
Right, we didn't know.
Right?
Right.
And we're asking to be told.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's very valid.
And we've made a lot of really big. Jude joining the Central Plymouth County Water District Commission. That's a huge step in the right direction for Pembroke. She's going to be there to advocate for us, but then also ask all the right questions to understand the bigger picture. Sorry, I don't mean to speak for you on that, but
Go Jude.
Right. Sorry. Go Jude. And then the other thing too is that, just by asking questions all around and figuring out, what was the chain of command before? Who are we supposed to be speaking to? Is it feasible for us to notify people that water is being diverted like you would notify somebody of a road race? Like, what are the proper avenues? We obviously don't want to raise alarm bells and have everybody looking at their pond and being afraid of what's going to happen, but we do want people to feel like they have all the information at their fingertips and they understand what's going on.
Yeah. Let me ask you a quick question. All of my questions are quick. So Bob Kennedy was a founder. Did he start the watershed because other towns had watersheds? Or was this a first?
I actually don't know the answer.
So so the next question is, do other towns have watershed associations?
Yeah,
they do.
Yes.
Okay. But some of the towns don't actually need a watershed because they don't have any water.
No.
Right?
Watershed's it's a broad definition, so there could be watershed shedding through towns that don't have either beachfront by the ocean or beachfront by lakes and ponds. But there's streams, all the streams, when you look at the watershed.
Of course. Yeah.
We
That was a dumb question.
We will post a watershed picture,
Yeah.
our watershed picture on our website. I know it's on there, but we can make it more current. I mean, you see, it does border many towns. Our watershed borders many towns. Even if it's just a stream,
Yep.
it's still a wetland.
Yeah.
And that wetland has, like Nicole said, protections.
Yeah.
And it has connection. And so when I think, again, not just Furnace, I think beyond Furnace is these wetlands.
Yeah.
These wetlands are all connected.
Yeah.
And they're connected to our aquifers that charge our aquifers that give us water. They're connected to all the animals that rely on the watershed. For instance, bee species are down, bird species are down in population because of the changing of the wetlands and the lack of protection on the wetlands. Those bees, they give us corn. Those birds eat the grubs that might infect our tomatoes. Like we are even if you don't live on a pond or you don't live on a stream, you're probably adjacent to a wetland and a protected wetland. And it's in your best interest and my best interest and all our best interests to protect these wetlands so that we protect our health and safety for the future. And people don't realize that. It's like, oh, these people living on the pond, they don't like when their props get broken. It's not about that. It's about all the connections that we all have.
It's a living, breathing organism.
To all of our sustainable resources.
And to expand on that, I mean, we have adjacent watersheds that we want to work with because we all have the same interests. So we're reaching out to other entities just to kind of see, hey, how can we work together? How can we make this a cohesive thing where we're all, under the same joint initiatives? Just that chain of command. Again, we don't want to break the communication in the interest of these two individuals. We want to make sure that everybody is cohesively working together on this.
Cool. Ladies, we've been at this for almost an hour.
Sorry, Fraser.
No, apologize. This has been fantastic.
Goes by fast.
There are no dumb questions, by the way. So if anybody has any questions, please email us at Pembroke
I thought
Watershed.
you were talking about me there for a second.
Join the
gmail.com.
Pembroke Watershed Association.
Enjoy the Pembroke Watershed Association.
So I'm not cutting us off, though. I was going to start with you, Nicole. Did you come with a stack of papers? Was there anything in that stack of papers that you feel we haven't covered that you wanted to get a message out about?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I think Jude really covered it in terms of the fact that, we're all really kind of in this together. And, there are a lot of facts out there and there are a lot of, we'll just call them unfacts in the parlance of our
Fake
times.
News.
So, it's just, you just have to, when you speak to your neighbor and hear something that you perceive to be a fact, just double check it. Mm-hmm. Look at the writing.
Very good advice. Yeah. Jude?
I want to shout out to our other 3 board members that we work with very closely on all of this, and it really is a village of 5 people: Darren Mahoney, Kathy Hepburn, and Kevin Becker. Who this is a team effort, like a true team effort.
Yep.
And we're very lucky to be serving with people with such passion and knowledge and capability that.
I actually think that's a terrific shout out, Jude. Yeah. And I have to say, I work on several other boards, and I'm not an individual. Right. I work with a team of people. Yeah.
I also just want to throw out their standing committee. We have our new standing committee, Maureen Joyce, as well as Kathy Hepburn. So I didn't want to leave them unacknowledged as well.
Sorry.
Absolutely right.
Also, our select board.
Everyone who volunteers for this town, whatever they do, needs to be acknowledged. They really do, because we don't have enough volunteers. And part of the reason, I think, is because people feel that they're forgotten.
Yep. And our liaison from the select board is Tracy Marino. Uh-huh. We're very grateful for her advocacy. And Steve Ciciotti, select board member who lives in Furnace and just never says no whenever I ask him to do something for us.
Steve's a hard worker, and he's good for the town. Well, listen, I think you've both been fantastic. And this is everything I was expecting it to be. I was expecting your professionalism, your known skills at the mic. I'm talking about Jude, and I'm talking about both Nicole and Jude. So I want to thank my guests, Nicole Pelletier.
It's okay to say it the French way. Go ahead.
That's what is that my problem?
It's Pelletier if you say it the South Shore way.
And I am Jude Georges.
And Jude Georges.
Jude Georges.
Georges. Keeping with the theme.
Actually, I've got to tell you, so I used to live there, and they had this...
En français?
Oui, à Paris. So they had this brand, the biggest brand name of washing machines, had this wonderful name, Arthur Martin.
Ooh.
But when it's written, it's Arthur Martin. Such a dull...
So in South Shore talk, it'd be Adi Martin.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to thank our guests, Nicole and Jude, but I also want to thank the listeners for tuning in. This podcast will be available on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube with additional links on our Facebook page. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce. And if you're interested in becoming a member of the Chamber, please go to the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce website, pembrokechamber.org, which is also where you can sign up to be a guest on this podcast, but also sign up to be a vendor at the Taste of Pembroke, which will be at the Community Centre on October the 10th, 1 till 5. Ladies, thank you so much for coming, and thanks so much for all the information. I think the town is a better place for having this kind of information out there.
Thank you, Fraser.
Thank you, Fraser. Really appreciate it.